Breaking news, Joe Flacco named Browns starting QB week 1. Welcome back to the Green Bean Go channel. It's your host, me. Today I want to talk about why I believe this move is the correct move for the Cleveland Browns. And that is a sentence that people have not uttered in the last decade as it relates to not only Browns football, but Browns starting quarterbacks. We know that this team has not been able to find their guy. And do I think Joe Flacco is their guy? Absolutely not. And I think they know Joe Flacco is not their guy, which is why this decision makes so much sense. What? All of that seems counterintuitive. The plan today in this video is to uncover why I think this is the best move, not only for the Browns in the short term, but also in the long term. We have confirmation that Joe Flacco will indeed start the season. Second on the depth chart is Kenny Pickett. We are familiar with what Kenny Pickett has been able to do, albeit not much. Then the third string is Dillon Gabriel, who they took in the draft, had a great preseason game this weekend, but time will tell if he's NFL caliber. And then lastly, the fourth spot is taken up by Shedeur Sanders. Now, Shedeur Sanders is the guy that everybody wants to see. And I say everybody. I realize that he is a very polarizing figure, and I feel bad for him because truly I think his father is polarizing. I wish his father would leave him alone, which is maybe not something you ask of a father and son relationship, but I think Shedeur Sanders' NFL experience and career would be much better if his dad would just shut his mouth for 5 minutes. But I want to go on the record right now and tell you I believe Shedeur Sanders will start the majority of games the 2025 season for the Cleveland Browns, and I believe that he will be the face of this team for as long as is possible with Cleveland Browns starting quarterbacks. I don't know. My entire argument hinges on their schedule. If we look week 1, they open against a division rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals will win that game. They'll win the game. I don't know what else to tell you. The Cincinnati Bengals are coming in hungry, probably one of the hungriest teams in the league, a team that continues to be fringe good, playoff caliber, but they missed the playoffs last year. A lot of it was due to their defense, so I'm not saying that Joe Flacco won't be able to have some success against this team, but I do think Cincinnati wins this game. Then they travel on the road to a second division rival in the Baltimore Ravens, which should be a bloodbath. Even though we get the revenge game narrative with Joe Flacco going back to Baltimore, I believe the Cleveland Browns start 0-2. They come back home and they play an NFC contender in the Green Bay Packers. I guess it depends on your definition of contender, but I think the Packers will be at least a 10-win team this year. And I would imagine that the Green Bay Packers are favored in that game and likely win that game. That puts them at 0-3 to start the year. That puts Joe Flacco at 0-3 to start the year. Then week 4, they travel on the road to the Detroit Lions, another very difficult game. This is a brutal first 4 games of the NFL season, 2 divisional opponents and 2 contenders in the NFC North. And I look at this and I say, the last thing that not only the Cleveland Browns need as a franchise, but that Shedeur Sanders needs as a player as he looks to grow in this league is to start the year 0-4 with their rookie quarterback. That cannot happen. Can you imagine the headlines? It would be a bloodbath. It would be torture. It would be the worst possible thing for the longevity of this team. So what are they going to do? They're going to throw the veteran to the wolves. They're going to make Joe Flacco go out there and lose 4 games. What happens then once Joe Flacco loses those 4 games? A lot of this. A lot of, oh, should the Browns have started Shedeur? Oh, is Joe Flacco the right guy for the job? No Mo Joe can't get it going. You know, if people are into poetry, they might write that as a title. The point of the matter is they're going to completely ignore the fact that they had 4 difficult games on their schedule. Nobody is going to sit here and say, Joe Flacco's the guy. They've just played 4 hard games. I think Joe Flacco is the face of this franchise. I think he's the guy to ride out this season with. Give him some time. He's just played 4 games. The entire narrative is going to be Joe is done. Joe is old. Joe doesn't have it. We got Shedeur Sanders just sitting and waiting. Why don't you give that guy a chance? You're 0-4. How many teams start 0-4 and end up making the playoffs? It's never been done in NFL history. I've seen this movie before. So what is going to happen? Week 5. Minnesota comes to town. Who is going to start that game? I believe it is Shedeur Sanders. I believe we get the Shedeur. I lied. He's not coming to town. It looks like that game is at 9:30 a.m., so it's probably a London or Germany game. Regardless, they're going to leave town. They're going to get away. They're going to go on the road. 0-4. They're going to say, Shedeur, it's your team now. And he's going to face off against J.J. McCarthy in a London or Germany game. Let me figure out where it actually is being played. London. J.J. McCarthy, young quarterback, first year actually playing football in the league against Shedeur Sanders, making his first career NFL start in London. All the lights, all the attention, 9:30. The world is watching. And Shedeur Sanders goes out there and wins the game. That's my guess. Then they travel to Pittsburgh. That's going to be a difficult game in the division on the road after a week across the pond. So I'm going to say maybe they lose that one. And then they have Miami and New England, which I believe are very winnable games. I don't think Miami's going to be that great this year. I think they're very beatable. Tua Tapioca Brain is already going to be on the injured reserve by that point. And then New England, we'll see what happens with Drake May. And all of this is occurring right before their bye week. So in my estimation, they're going to lose the first 4 games. They're going to put Shedeur Sanders in, who's going to win 3 of their next 4 games. And the narrative is going to change. They go into the bye week 3 and 5. They start to look good. They start to have some momentum. And what you have to understand is that if they start the season with Shedeur Sanders is going to begin his NFL career 0-4. And what happens? Not only do they fail in the short term, they fail in the long term. I don't care if you take prime Thomas Brady and put him out there for the first 4 games. They're not winning these games. So Joe Flacco is quite literally volunteering as tribute to go out there and be a punching bag for the first quarter of the season in order to preserve the livelihood and reputation of Shedeur Sanders, who I believe will start week 5 and continue as the starter for the entirety of the 2025 season. Unless they choose Dylan Gabriel or Kenny Pickett, I can never tell what this franchise is going to do. But as of now, I like the decision to go with Flacco, and ironically, as a means to preserving Shedeur Sanders' hopefully positive NFL career.